How many times in your life have you thought that the only way to find inner peace was to forgive? What if I told you that the Buddha had a completely different view of forgiveness, one that could radically transform the way you live? Today you will discover why the Buddha does not forgive, and how this teaching can change your life forever. What you will discover today is truly shocking. Watch the whole video, because you will be positively shocked by this approach to the life of the Buddha, and at the end we will reveal a really powerful secret to you. Subscribe to the channel The Smiling Buddha to receive other precious teachings on Buddhist philosophy and personal growth. In an ancient village, surrounded by green hills and far from the chaos of the world, lived a revered Zen master named Tenzin. His wisdom was known throughout the region, and many travelers would travel long distances just to hear his words. One day, a man named Haruto, full of anger and resentment, showed up at the temple where Tenzin lived. "Master," Haruto said in a tone filled with despair, "I have suffered a terrible wrong. A man has betrayed my trust, and the pain I feel is unbearable. I have tried to forgive him, but the resentment will not leave me. What should I do?" Tenzin looked at Haruto with a slight smile and said, "Come, sit beside me. I will tell you a story that can help you understand the true meaning of forgiveness according to the Buddha's way." Tenzin began his tale. Many years ago there lived two brothers in a small village. Both were devoted followers of the Buddha and lived simple, peaceful lives. One day the older brother discovered that the younger brother had made a decision he considered senseless, putting the safety of their family at risk. Furious, the older brother attacked the younger brother, accusing and hurting him with harsh words. The younger brother, devastated by the accusations, left the house in tears, vowing never to return. Time passed, but the older brother could not free himself from the guilt of what he had done. He decided to go to the Buddha and ask him how he could obtain forgiveness from his brother, and above all, how he could forgive himself. When he finally reached the Buddha, he asked, "Master, how can I gain forgiveness? How can I heal this wound in my heart?" The Buddha, with his usual serenity, looked at him and said, "There is nothing to forgive nor to ask for in return. To forgive is to see beyond the action, to understand that what has been done is only a shadow of the true self. True forgiveness does not consist in condoning, but in understanding and accepting with compassion, without clinging to the past." The elder brother was confused. "Master, how can I not cling to what I have done? Remorse haunts me every day." The Buddha replied, "You don't have to seek forgiveness either from yourself or from others. You just have to let go. Whenever you hold on to the past, you feed the pain. But if you learn to live in the present, without desire to change the past, you will discover that there is nothing to forgive, because there is no wrong that can exist in the present moment." Haruto listened to Tenzin, every word piercing his soul like a blade cutting through the chains of resentment. The master continued, "The Buddha does not forgive because he does not see the need for forgiveness. For him, everything is already perfect as it is. Forgiveness is a creation of the mind that seeks to correct what it perceives as a mistake. But in reality, there is nothing to correct, only to understand and accept with an open heart." And what do you think about the Buddha's vision? How difficult is it for you to let go of the past and embrace the present? Write it in the comments below the video. Also, if you really want to start living fully in the present, write down the phrase "here and now" right away, so that you can immediately transform your feeling into conscious action. At this point, Haruto felt a change within himself. He realized that the forgiveness he desperately sought was unnecessary. What he needed was to let go of the past, stop feeding the fires of resentment, and simply embrace the present with serenity. Tenzin continued, "When someone hurts you, it is not the person who hurts you, but your attachment to the action and the result." The Buddha teaches us that we must live every experience without attachment, whether it is positive or negative. In this way, you will discover that there is nothing to forgive, because there was never anything that was really against you. The master slowly rose, pointed to a flower in the temple garden and said, "Do you see this flower? It does not ask forgiveness from the wind for being bent, nor does it apologize to the sun for seeking its light. It simply exists in its natural state, without remorse or attachment." We too should learn to live like this, accepting the nature of things without trying to change or correct them through forgiveness. Haruto, with tears in his eyes, thanked the master for his wisdom. He had finally understood that the peace he sought was not in forgiveness, but in liberation from the need for it. The Buddha taught that true power lies not in forgiving, but in understanding that forgiveness is merely a creation of the ego. When you overcome the ego, you also overcome the need to forgive. In that moment, you discover a peace that is beyond all understanding, a peace that completely transforms the way you see the world and yourself. This is the deepest lesson of the Buddha. There is nothing to forgive, only to understand and accept, and it is in this acceptance that you will find true freedom. And now let me reveal to you a profound teaching that few people know. The Buddha did not teach forgiveness as we understand it, because he knew that forgiveness is just another way of holding on to the past. Instead, the real teaching is that there is nothing to forgive when you live in pure awareness of the present. When you are completely present, every action, every word, every thought loses its power to hurt you. You become invulnerable, not because you have learned to forgive, but because you have learned not to attach yourself to anything. The concept that the Buddha does not forgive may seem surprising, but it has deep roots in Buddhist philosophy. In Buddhism, the Buddha represents enlightenment and ultimate truth, a being who has overcome ego and attachment. For the Buddha, there is no separate entity that can grant or deny forgiveness because ultimately there is no other to forgive. All actions carry with them their karmic consequences, and the process of forgiveness is seen as a matter of personal liberation rather than reconciliation with an external entity. In this vision, forgiveness is a path of self-healing and purification of the mind, where it is not about receiving forgiveness from a superior being, but about dissolving resentment and suffering within oneself. The Buddha does not forgive because he has no one to forgive. True transformation occurs within ourselves through understanding, compassion, and the cessation of attachment to pain. Now I will reveal to you a secret exercise that very few people know about, but which can really change your perspective on forgiveness and free you from the weight of the past. But first, give this video a nice like, subscribe to our channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss our next contents dedicated to Buddhist philosophy and personal growth. This exercise is called the Dark Rite of Release. Take a sheet of paper and write the name of the person who hurt you or the event that caused you pain. Then, with full awareness, burn that paper and watch as the smoke dissolves into the air. As you do this, mentally repeat, "As the smoke dissolves, so too does my attachment to this pain disappear." This simple yet powerful ritual helps release emotional attachment, allowing you to live in the present, free from the burden of the past.